I don't think you should tease too much before the product is actually available for sale. I try to think of things in this like good, better, best framework. Any brand, any product, like that's a great framework to use. But that's definitely a big element. And like depending on the product, sometimes those pics do really, really well. The next thing I might post is some of those iPhone product shots. The value is truly in the product and then also just being a part of this community.
Yeah.
It can never really be this how much it cost me to make, so I'm gonna charge up this much. A big sit down moment, epiphany of like, yo, like this is the source of all my problems. Sometimes you gotta just build your own a little bit.
We are back in the Here to Help podcast. My name is Saeed Ferguson. I am your host. Today we have a special guest, Chris Jackson.
What's going on?
Let's go. Chris runs an amazing brand called Chez, Rien. Today the topic is the art of the rollout, king of the rollout. Some might say, I don't know.
Appreciate that.
But let's get a quick rundown of like how you got started, who you are, and the backstory of who Chris Jackson is.
For sure. What's up, everyone? First of all, thank you, Saeed, for having me.
Of course.
Super stoked to be here. It's always fun to sit down and dig deep, just like reflect a little bit. You know, when you're in it, sometimes you're just going and you don't really have those moments. So even, just thinking through kind of what we're going to talk about, give me a second to think, like, we really doing this and that. It is really strategic, even though sometimes it feels like we going with the flow, So I'm excited to jump in and kind of share some of our process with you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
But yeah, I'm Chris Jackson, founder of Chez, a clothing brand, apparel, retailer, you could say, but also just like a community-oriented brand, just, built around this idea of home.
Yeah.
So home, and we'll talk more about it, is kind of the central pillar of what we do, and that's kind of fed throughout everything, all elements of the brand.
Yeah.
And I launched the brand in 2021. Initially launched in 2020, actually, then took a pause, took a hiatus. It was a time during the pandemic when I was just getting very introspective of kind of like where I felt myself heading, my future. And at the time, clothing was just a way I expressed myself through style. It wasn't something I really was creating. But then when everything shut down, that's when I started experimenting with sewing a little bit, was doing like customs, like one-of-ones and things. And then from there, just started posting my work organically online, just having fun with it. Was doing like the stacked jeans at the time. That was like the big wave, a lot of different dye techniques, distressing and gems and such. And so very loud, just exploring different elements of design. And within like 2 months, I had probably sold like 60 pairs of jeans, just like organically on Instagram. People just hit me up from around the country, like, yo, let me grab a pair of these. And then I was like, hold on. There's always been, like, I've always loved like art and creativity, but then there's also always been that kind of hustler in me, that entrepreneur from being like 7 years old on the block selling lemonade. So like, starting my first brand in middle school, which was like a skate supply co. Just like screen printed hoodies.
Crazy. In middle school?
Middle school, which like that's a whole nother, like the Instagram is still up if you want a fractured supply co.
Fire.
But that was my first brand. So there's always been this like driving me to want to like build something. And kind of like just a love for like seeing something blossom from something small and like the potential, to build. So
100%.
I think when I started getting those traction on the pants, something that started out just, like true passion and like exploring my interests. That entrepreneur in me was like, all right, how can I potentially build this into something bigger than just me sitting here sewing this pair of pants and then, sending it out? Like, what could this potentially become? Started exploring the idea of a brand, launched a little bit prematurely, I would say. Although I am an advocate for just getting your ideas out. It was definitely kind of rushed and just like, to get a brand out. So I took a pause, kind of cleared everything off the feed. And I had a year of just like really digging in, learning about garment construction, learning about fabric sourcing, learning about the core foundational elements of like brand building, lots of reading, podcasts, looking at those figures that were inspirational to me. And kind of looking to follow in their footsteps in a sense, but in my own way. And that eventually led me to relaunch. Started out with just one product, a beanie. It was an Italian spun merino wool, super high quality beanie made here in New York in Ridgewood. And I took my time with it. There was so much integrity in the product, and that was the foundation of the brand. And then from there, it's the storytelling follow, which I know we'll touch on a bunch today. But
Yeah.
that was really that foundation that allowed me to, start going towards where we've come today and where we're headed. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's
background.
so much lore. Middle school
for
is
sure.
crazy. So I want to touch on the idea of home and how that connects to like the ecosystem of the brand, how that rolls into like the product launches, the storytelling, and yeah, how you just carry that philosophy throughout the brand. Because if you can feel it, like you can feel it in the product, you can feel it in the storytelling, the way you shoot, like everything feels warm and comfortable, as if you're at your house or whatever home means to you. Like I think you do a good job of portraying it, but if you could break that down for us and explain the concept of home and how you're trying to show it.
For sure. So let's see. I mean, this one runs deep for sure in the roots of the brand. So I would start by saying, yeah, the brand is built around this idea that home means more than just the place you live.
Yeah.
And that's always been our mission to just explore that. And I think that was part of when I kind of relaunched the brand. It was like, all right, we need a foundation that can allow us to explore in a million different ways. And it's like
Yeah.
this idea of home, you can't define it as one thing. So like it could be a man walking down the street with his umbrella, or like a song you hear and like
Yeah.
that reminds you of a feeling you had 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it may be. There's a lot of little elements of day-to-day life that can represent home. And I'll go back to the original, like how I got there, and then how that kind of ties into the brand. When I first moved to Philly for college, so I was living in Media, small town, like 30 minutes outside the city. Philly was always like, loved coming to the city as much
Yeah.
as possible, but my parents went to UPenn, so coming to the Penn relays,
Yeah.
it's like getting to the city as much as I can, coming to skate with my homies and such, which we'll dig into. But, when I finally moved here, it was like everything I had dreamed of finally being in the city and being immersed in the culture.
Yeah.
It was like that times 10. So I'm looking around, I'm seeing little moments of like just candid life moments of like, yo, look at that dude sitting on that bench and the way it's framed up. And I was like, I was overwhelmed with the feelings I was feeling, the sounds, the sights. I was like, I need to be able to express this in some type of way. It's like this familiar feeling that's also like you can't put your finger on, but it's just beautiful. It's seeing the beauty in the small moments of day-to-day life. And so that's when I picked up street photography. I had dibbled and dabbled in photography like throughout high school, and just learned like the basic principles, aperture, shutter speed, all the basics of like foundational photography. But once I got to the city, that's when I started exploring street photography, dove deep into it.
Damn.
Was just like every day after class, hopping on my skateboard, like no direction, just going out in the streets, everywhere from like, honestly, everywhere north of Market was like my stomping ground. So just like figuring it out, and yeah, it was just shooting a bunch of candid moments. My page is still up, Chez Jackson photo. If you want to look at my 2018 to 2019 era of like some of the sites that were inspiring me at that time.
Yeah.
And then when I started the brand, that inspiration was like, all right, how does something like this idea of like these everyday moments, these people in their authentic environments, how does that take shape in the form of a brand? From there, you'll see like our first campaign, we literally for the beanies, people were like, oh, you gotta have a full collection. I was like, nah, we just gonna do these beanies, right? That's it. We went around the streets, we found, bouncing off of that idea, street photography just found individuals in their natural environment, said, yo, can we throw this beanie on you, take some photos, and ask you a couple questions? And we basically asked them, what does home mean to you? We got some amazing answers.
Wow.
Definitely we were talking a lot of like the older people, because I just love the character and their expressions, their stories that they have to tell from a life well lived. And from there, it was just like everything we've done has kind of tied into this idea of home, whether it's the fabric selection, the feeling you get from our garments, whether it's the music in the campaigns, the videos, the idea, the family elements, or like that friendship.
Yeah.
I always, whenever I'm starting a project, it's just like, all right, home as that grounding word, and does this feel like that?
100%.
So everything just on a spectrum, like it'll sway. Not everything feels exactly the same, but it's always this sense of connectedness, familiarity, or warmth, positivity. I never try to do anything that feels too dark or like,
for sure.
So it's like, I think it's just like this coziness that ties everything together, to the events as well, which we'll talk about. Events, the music that's being played, the people,
Yeah,
the spatial design, like it all has to feel like home, you know. And you
100%.
can't define what home is, but you know when you feel it. So,
Yeah, it's a feeling. Yeah. How does that affect your rollout strategy? So like when you're thinking of locations and just like the way you're thinking about marketing to people, like how does that idea, like are you trying to curate like specific models? Like are you trying to work with specific people and specific locations? Yeah, how are you thinking about that as far as tying that
for
back to home?
sure. And I'll say tying it into home, like it's been very, very organic. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about it, you know. And I work in corporate fashion, so I see sometimes how things can just be like contract, agency,
Yeah.
hire this person. But like for us, like as we grow, there's a little bit of that creeping in, and it's like it's fun to work with new people. But I always love like maintaining like a family kind of vibe with who we're working with. It's like people that we genuinely love, care
Yeah.
about, you know, from yeah, just starting out, like being scrappy with it, getting all the homies together. Anyone I know who does, yo, you got a camera, you do this, boom, boom, like let's make something happen.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been how our team has grown over time. Um, and yeah, it's just like being on set. I mean, models like homies from Temple, you know, just like,
Yeah.
yo, he looks dope. I've always, and I love seeing them now having their opportunities and working with different brands and things from us
Yeah.
just believing in them, that seeing something that maybe others hadn't seen.
Yeah.
I think that ties into that idea of like, yeah, it's really home. Like when people come on set, you know, we want them to feel like they're home.
Yeah.
We're working. We'll slowly introduce new faces into the mix, and like we're always love to connect with new people. But I
Yeah.
always emphasize like, yo, like one step at a time because like we want this to still feel like just having fun with our friends. We never want it to just feel like
Yeah.
a corporate shoot because it's like that's not what we're doing this for in the first place. So naturally, yeah, model selection. I mean, all that's important, and like we're starting to be a little more strategic, thinking about you know who we're speaking to and the customer, et cetera, and how
Yeah.
our models can reflect that as well.
Yeah.
Um, but man, it's like it's a just keeping it in the family. I would say a little bit helps with that. You know,
For sure.
that feeling of home cut through and what we're doing.
Yeah, I think that's key to work within the people like you know, especially early on, like using the people that you know as like the people who are informing the brand, you working with the brand. Like one, you already have that relationship established, so the chemistry's there, so you can work with them, and then like two, like you are helping achieve their dreams as well. Like if they want to, like if they got the camera and want to be a photographer, they're probably trying to figure out how to make it work. And working with you is the perfect example. And like it just creates like a win-win scenario. So I think that's key for anyone like trying to start a brand. Like try to work with the homies if you can. Like if you have a homie that wants to take up the camera and wants to be a photographer, like that's the perfect person to
Yeah.
ask. And it just creates like an environment like you guys can like bounce ideas off each other, and that's why I like doing this with Anthony, because I was like he was able to like I can bounce ideas off of him. He was helping with shoots and stuff like that, and I've known him for a while, so it was like a chemistry was there, the work was there, like it was just perfect.
Yeah, natural.
Yeah.
Natural. Y'all both helping each other go up. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it was great.
helping the dream, fueling each other.
So walk me through your seasonal rollout calendar. Like how far in advance are you working and like planning out? How are you like thinking about? Are you thinking about 2026 already? Or, like, are you thinking that like you're already ahead of that?
It's funny you asked that when I was looking at this. I'm like, we are literally in like a huge revamp right now. You
Damn.
know, and like maybe we could dig into this one because it's like the brand with the growth we've been having. It's just been a blessing. Like love it, and like even when I'm stressed,
Yeah.
I always try to remember like this is a blessing. This is what I wish for. So like keep pushing. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, with that growth, it kind of catches up to you if you're not just ahead of things. You know, there's more pressure on you, and then not having you know built out calendars and
Yeah.
timelines far enough in advance, it catches up to you.
For sure.
You know, I'm sure
Yeah.
you've experienced that
100%.
where you're like, whoa, and then it's just like with that, you limit creativity as well because you don't leave room for yourself to, you know, I forget who said it, but the creative mind needs room to wander.
Yeah.
It's a saying. And it's like you truly need those moments of stillness. You need that time to think and explore for your best ideas to come out. And when you're like always in that catch-up mode, yeah, it's hard to do. So right now we're like honestly taking a mini hiatus. We'll still have a couple smaller launches throughout the fall, but like
Yeah.
we're all focused on like 2026, like honestly summer, to then be on a better like 11-month out like kind of seasonal timeline for all of our launches and
Damn.
just like everything. Cause yeah, right now it's been tight. You know, you launch a product, you test it in the market, you see how it does.
Yeah.
Then you're like, all right, what are we gonna do next? Based on that, either we do expand on this or start something else. Then you
Yeah.
start working on that. Boom, you put it out. But then as the demand for kind of everything you do picks up, then you're like, oh wait, like
Yeah.
people are wanting more, but we not like you can't just
Yeah.
launch. Then think about the next thing. You have to be ahead of that. So right now we're like, all right, take a mini hiatus, still fuel a little bit, some couple
Yeah.
fun projects and some familiar products that people love with new energy. But really, yeah, getting out on a longer timeline is a big focus right now. We just did like a big offsite, just like strategy session with my small team.
Fire.
Shout out Nebrea, shout out Jeremy.
Fire.
So it's like, yeah, taking the steps to get on a better timeline, but I'll say, no, we haven't been. We haven't been. It's been definitely like
Yeah.
a point of just causing stress that's not necessary. You're always gonna have stress, but
Yeah.
like when you're behind
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you're just rushing, like we dropped our summer collection that was really ideally supposed to come out in like May, but like we launched it in July. We got seasonal product that's like honestly, you really can only sell shorts through a certain time of year.
For
So
sure,
you're
yeah.
like, you got inventory coming. So it's like, I think now, ideally, we would love to have like everything locked and landed and ordered like at least 4 to 5 months before launch date.
Yeah.
And then we can be in full campaign mode for
Yeah.
those last few months. You
Yeah.
know, that's like what we're targeting. Right now, it's been way tighter than that. It's been like a five, probably like realistically a 5-month calendar for most product launches.
Yeah.
From like idea to like launch, 5 to 6 months. We were like on like a 6 month for a little bit in there, and then we got a little behind. So now I'm like, we need way more room to
Yeah.
like really bring this to life the way it's supposed to. But right now we've been knocking out a lot of these campaigns in like a month, from like idea to like finished product, edited, ready to roll out.
Yeah. That's an amazing timeline.
Yeah, it's been cool, and like I think it's still doable. Like a lot of like the product stuff up front is
Yeah.
what really determines
Yeah.
the timeline. Like we can knock out a concept, you know, when we
Yeah,
have
the
it, like we
team.
can make it happen. Like with the team, it's like
Yeah.
we'll bring it to life. But again, just having more time will also,
100%.
you know.
100%.
So you
Yeah.
wanna? I mean, did you want me to talk through like each stage, or is that?
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's do break down the rollout from like initial concept to launch.
Okay, for sure. So I would say one, yeah, it starts with concept. For me, all of my best ideas always come when I'm kind of in this like these idle moments or these moments where there's no distraction or these forced moments. And I know you've talked about you have ADHD. I have mild
Yeah.
ADHD as well. Like
Yeah,
being,
yeah.
you know, registered with the disabilities in
Yeah.
my school and all that, get my extra time.
Yeah.
So it's like, cause yeah, my mind's always in a million places, but those moments where, yeah, you can't use your phone, you can't look at anything or consume anything, those are when I always find my best ideas. You know, that's where the concept comes to life. So it'll be like in the shower, or like while I'm driving, you know, when I have no music on, if I'm just locked in on the road, like, you know, I start thinking, and like that's where it's like everything clicks. Lately, it's been running. So like my past couple campaigns honestly came like on my early morning run, no music, just like locked in,
Damn.
and my mind is just like putting pieces together. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to finish this run. I might be at the stoplight for like writing stuff in my notes. Like I'm like, oh, all right, I gotta keep going. But you know, that's really when you and like I've been trying to find more of those times to like have those moments so that these ideas can come to me.
Yeah.
So it starts with concept. Once I have a concept, I usually get really excited about it. So I'm like, boom, hit up Nebrea, my producer,
Yeah.
and now my director of operations for the brand as well.
Let's go.
She's awesome, amazing, get stuff done.
Let's
Like
go.
just a doer.
Fire.
And I'll hit her up and be like, yo, concept, like let's do this. So she'll start building out our like to-do list, and then we'll work together collaboratively on that, hop on a few calls. Then I'll go into more like the creative brief process. So I'll start building out my idea creatively in like a deck. I'll always start with like a little background about the brand for anyone new who maybe have never worked with us in the deck, and then
Yeah.
go into the concept, the location, etc. Like really break that, flush out the idea as full as I can, just to like convey it to the people we'll be working with. And then from there, I guess first we'll also lock in like a target date for the shoot. So I'll look at my schedule and what I got going on the next couple months,
Yeah.
because ultimately I am driving that vision. I gotta be free the
Yeah.
day of the shoot, but
For sure.
I look at when we're available, and then
Yeah.
we'll go from there. We'll like have a couple creators in mind, whether it's for the photography or for the video and everything.
Yeah.
And then we'll just probe people, starting with like who we really want to work with for this idea. We'll be like, yo, you couple dates in mind. Work backwards from there, build out a team, and then we'll hop on like a kickoff call. So kickoff, I'll always just bring everyone together. Usually everyone except the models. Sometimes models can take a little longer to land for certain concepts, so that might be
Yeah.
a TBD still. But bring on the whole crew. We'll just get everyone excited about the idea. Really like let them into like where my head is, so that they're all on board and like ready to get after it. Start like whatever, sourcing props or thinking of different locations within,
Yeah.
the general location that I've given, From there, it's just like any tertiary, like smaller calls. So like I'll meet with my stylist. If I have one for the shoot, we'll do like a digital style out, or I'll meet with camera crew, think about lighting, equipment, think about, shot lists and storyboards, etc.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention, but yeah, like mood boarding and like kind of that creative concept, that's all added in my creative brief.
Got you.
And then that kind of drives like the vision for everyone and all their elements.
Yeah.
They have something central to come back to as like, just for reference of like where we're headed.
Foundation.
And then from there, it's go time. So it's a lot of logistics, just like last minute, like checking everything off. Having that checklist is always super helpful.
Yeah.
We're pretty scrappy with it still, but we're figuring out better ways of working as we go. But
Yeah.
and then it's go time, day of, shoot day. You had that on the calendar. Everybody's good to go, and you make it happen. And it's fun. It's like, what's beautiful about it is like you can plan so much, and it's always gonna take shape. It's never gonna be exactly what you had in your mind. But it's always fun to see how it executes based on the work you've put into it. And it's
Yeah.
like over time I've figured out how to make it. My execution is catching up to my vision.
Yeah.
At first you're like a little bummed out. You're like, dang, like I envisioned it like this, but it's not all the way
Yeah.
all the way there. Same with making product. It can be like
Yeah.
that, waiting for your vision to execute the way you envisioned it. But
Yeah.
there's still always that beauty in like those little moments of just natural life,
100%.
that add to the creative of like, well, we didn't plan it that way, but it's dope. That's
Yeah.
how life is. So
Yeah, no, yeah. And I almost think it makes it better. Like, it's so hard to get it to be like 100% to like the way you're seeing it, and like having even like how your photographer or videographer is like interpreting, it's gonna be different, and like seeing how they interpret it. For me, it's always been like I was like one of those creative directors and people who like wants to control like every part. I'm like, I need it to be a certain way, but like after a while, I just like step back. I was like, y'all just do it, and I'm not like, y'all know the vibe, y'all know the ideas, do your thing, and like it was always better than how I expected it, or like I just accepted it and like just appreciated it for the art that it is.
I mean, yeah, and it's like you're working with those people for a reason too. So like that's what I had to
Exactly.
also like. And I'm like, you know what? I'm working with them because I love and respect their work. So
Yep.
let them do their work.
Exactly.
Like you're still the visionary, the curator. You have that final like curation and making sure it's all presented the way you want.
Yeah.
But let them bring their full who they are to it as well, and it's going to be something even way more
special.
beautiful than you could have imagined. So
Yeah. I love how you started and like you're working with the team. Like the team seems like essential. Like you have the producer, you have your photographers, videographers, like stylists. And I think that's key, especially like running a brand is so hard and there's so many moving parts. Like having a team is so crucial. Like you need to have people thinking about it in different ways and helping you out. That's something that I learned towards the end. We were always pretty lean with all caps. Like we kept, this is me and Andrew just coming up with like a lot of it, like styling, production, like literally the whole thing. Until the end, like towards the end, we're like, this is like, we just got burnt out kind of. Like it was just so much to do and so much to keep up with. And we're like, we need more, way more help. So we started developing the team and all that. And I think that's crucial, like especially if you can get it going early on. I know it takes some resources and like figuring out who you want to work with takes some time. But like if you can get that dialed, I think that's such an unlock for brands. Like getting that team dialed in early on. Like if you're new, like trying to start a brand, that's like one of the things I would say keep top of mind is like who do you want to work with, who's the stylists that you like, the photographers that you like just try to build like an ideal team in your head for sure.
Agreed. Yeah, I think, and we definitely started out pretty lean as well. You know, I was doing honestly everything at the start.
Yeah, I think you have to.
How it goes, and like I would have like fundamental elements, but it was still pretty lean getting going.
Yeah.
And it's a balance, and you also want to, you want to pay people for their time. And at first, it's like,
Yeah.
right now it's a little tight, but like,
Yeah.
you want to let's create something dope, and you do it in a scrappy and as lean way as you can. But teamwork really makes the dream work, as they say. It's always beautiful seeing, the work of a bunch of people you respect and love come to life,
Yeah.
create one great thing. So
That's my favorite thing about running a brand. Shoots are like my favorite. Like having everyone come together to like accomplish one goal. It's like my favorite thing ever.
same.
I love that part. If I could do that every day, I probably would. Like
Sure,
low
right.
key. Like,
I wish that was all you did. The whole thing. Right.
You mentioned earlier about finding following the demand and like having to develop product and like following that curve almost. How do you find when to like develop a new colorway? Like for example, the sweaters, the heavy shaker sweaters. Like one was like they did really well and they sold out and like what was the flip, the switch to like, okay, we should introduce like a new color.
I would say so. First of all, that's what I do for a living. For those who don't know, I do merchandising full time. So
Fire.
like, I'm at the Gap. I do product strategy for the Gap outlet. So we actually make our own product on the outlet side. A lot of people think it's just markdowns from like the main Gap line, but we make our own with more of like a value model, stricter cost restraints. And so
Damn.
you gotta be creative sometimes to make great product at like a more affordable cost.
Yeah.
So I've learned so much. I think like in college, I was so like I just want to do my brand full time, straight out
Yeah.
of college, And then I got a little real with myself, like, all right, I got to support myself and keep learning. And I've learned so much in my 3 years being at a corporation like that scale, and just seeing strategically how they think about product and what product they're growing, what product they're declining, and, just like seasonal strategies every year. So
Yeah.
I definitely have taken a lot, even though it's like a lot more passionate and meaningful to me, just being my own brand. It's like my baby in a sense. The principles still remain of like how product works, how demand works, and I think you kind of build out your assortment in that way of like, all right, you have your hero, you figure out what your hero products are, you kind of testing a bunch of ideas and things that, you're enjoying. Like I personally love those sweaters. I needed a sweater that with that fit, the quality, the stitch we use, very intentional. A gap I kind of saw like in that market. From there, it's like when something hits like that, and it's kind of like a staple, can become a staple item for you. You just build upon that, and then you keep flowing in seasonal newness that keeps interest and creative energy going.
Yeah.
But you kind of want to figure out like what's your core, what's more seasonal, what's more just hits of this and that to keep it fun and exciting.
Yeah.
But find those items that can be your kind of core and what people know you for in a sense. So the sweaters have definitely been a big one. They did really well, like our best product launch, brand life to date. And then we've been figuring out kind of, all right, what's the more seasonal spring, summer item. These ringer tees we did, these texture knit ringer tees.
So good.
Kind of mending like classic 70s. I've been wearing so many like vintage Russell ringer tees. I was wearing them hella. I had this really nice knit tee from Buck Mason. I've been loving what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've never seen nobody do it though. Like I love my ringer tees. I want a knitted version of this. And I was like, what? We're gonna kind of combine the two and create something new here. So these have been a hit for us. We're selling out. People are just loving them. And so This
Yeah,
will probably become a new seasonal core item for us where like, yeah, we'll introduce new colorways
yeah,
versus some of the other stuff. It'll be like, maybe a crazy polo or something that like visually it draws eyes and buzz to the brand and people love it still.
yeah.
But when they actually get to the site, it might not actually convert as much as something that's just an easy everyday joint like this or like the sweater. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like just having a balance of both goes a long way.
I think that's key. Yeah,
Yeah.
have like the item that's like a bit more loud. That isn't the everyday. That's can be like marketed and story told around. But then you have the thing on the site that like it feels easier to wear.
It's a
So like
little
you're
more
drawn.
approachable,
Yeah,
yeah, a little
yeah,
safer. I mean, yeah, even this last drop, like I sensed that these would be the best seller out of the
yeah,
collection, and so we definitely bought the most inventory in these and kind of invested into them. But like, if you look at the page, we were really pushing a lot of like the polos and some of those things because that's
yeah.
ultimately what gets the eyeballs going. So,
Yeah.
but
Going back to the rollout, I love how you make your drops and events feel more like an event for the community rather than like here's another launch. Like I feel like you do a really good job. One in the storytelling, like pushing Northeast Philly campaign, and like even like your events at P's and Q's that I really like. Like you're curating, like everything's being thought of from like the build out for the bar, the DJs, putting vinyl on the store glass. Like everything's so thoughtful, and like you create like you're inviting jazz musicians to the events, like it doesn't feel like a product launch. I feel like I'm coming to like come to hang out and like be a part of something, and I think that's so special. So how do you think through that? And you touched on it a bit earlier, but like how do you just juxtapose like product launch with like this community feeling?
I mean, I always try to lead with story first for sure, and I think the product elements follow. Like you'll see, every single drop we do, like the first thing we post is the campaign that's like the kind of grounding story for everything that's to come. It's
Yeah.
not just like, hey, check out this product. It's, this is the Flow campaign about,
Yeah.
enjoying life's small moments, taking a second to just let things flow. Or whether that be, yeah, like the Ivy campaign we did at UPenn. And then, no, I think community is just like, that's kind of what drives me. That's like the fun in it all was like, again,
Yeah.
going back to us getting started, like we just want to have fun creating with our friends. And that's what this all is, like the pushing Northeast Philly. Those are like my 4 close homies, that I skate with all the time when I was back in Philly in my Philly days. And I was like, yo, I love like, I'll slide up to Northeast, pick them up from their crib, see how they're like pushing around the block,
Yeah.
hit the deli, we grab food, whatever, slide back to Whitehall. So I was like, yo, I want to feature y'all. I got 4 colorways of this beanie. It's the
Yeah.
4 of y'all. Like, let's
Yeah.
tell a story around that. And it's like, those laughs you see in the video, like that's genuine friendship and like the people that I love, and just showcasing something that I think is beautiful and through them, We did a campaign with James and Jared, 2 of my homies that are incredible producers. James, beautiful man. His older brother is Benny X, if you're familiar with
Yeah,
Benny X.
that's
Killer.
crazy.
Yeah, and so like that whole family, incredibly talented. But like I always respected it like way back. So they all went to Upper Darby High School, which is like the holy grail. I'm a drummer, so like growing up, and you'll see that a lot of people didn't know I'm a drummer, musician.
I didn't
Music
know
was like
that.
my life. Yeah, that was like my life growing up. Specifically drumline, I did like a lot of competitive drumline up to a high level, all through high school and college.
Wow.
Um, but and that's kind of through the music that we use in the brand. That's definitely a big piece. Like you said, inviting your say and other jazz. Like music is an underlying element that's home for me. So I implement that into the brand. But seeing James and Jared at Upper Darby, like they were killing on the drum line. They're amazing producers now. And same Benny X, snare line, like
Yeah.
top tier, just great musicians. And so
Yeah.
like being like 14 in high school, watching those guys, seeing Upper Darby like win the national championships for drumline, and it's like 10 minutes up the road. I looked up to those guys, and then I got to play with them a little bit earlier in college. And then it was a no-brainer. It's like, yo, we got these colorways launching. Like, let me show y'all doing y'all thing in the studio, doing your passion, because showcase things that I just genuinely am inspired by, find to be cool. And it was like a moment of like, yo, I've looked up to these guys. Now we cool, and now I want to like put them on with what we doing with the brand. So it's
Yeah.
like I don't know. It comes from a place deeper than like, oh, we just need something to promote this product. It's like, let's tell these stories of people, we really admire. So that goes into the events. I mean, yeah, like just figuring out who can we tap, what DJs that we're cool with, and like we love what they're doing in the DJ space. All right, we want you to come perform. You say, sax player, incredible. He on tour with the Jonas Brothers right now, holding it down. But yeah, he like we did a campaign surrounding him like 3 years ago, like told his story, his upbringing, and then he had him come from forum like, yo, you want to come play at the pop up? Like he's like, I would love to, you know. And then he just played at our Brooklyn pop up as well, collaborating with Mustafa, sick vinyl DJ. I don't know, it's just all like natural. It's never like super manufactured, and we're trying to like it's strategic, but it's not at the same time. It's just like home is really like what I love, and like that kind of transcends itself through the brand. So, and then I think the more the experiential side, like you mentioned, like some of the, all just like the branding elements, the vinyl, I think I definitely was like, again, I want that feeling to like cut through everything we do. And so, yeah, I could just set up a rack and call it a day and put the clothes and like, set up a folding table, have the DJs just pull up. I was like, nah, like, I want any space you walk into, whether it's the backyard of P's and Q's or the patio at Cafe Arzuli in Brooklyn. It's like, I want you to walk in there and be like, whoa, like, I just walked into a different space. I might have been here 1,000 times, but this feels different.
Yeah.
Putting a big rug out and just the wooden elements that my grandfather, helped me build. He's a carpenter his whole life. He 85, holding it down. Like, I'm like, yo, we gotta build this bar. We gotta build this DJ booth, do this and that. It's like, all the details matter in creating that experience that people will ultimately remember. And it's an investment, but like, it goes a long way, and like people notice that they're like, this something special going on. Right?
That's beautiful that it's all in community, like building. Like I didn't know like you were building that with your family. That's amazing.
Man, he in the campaign too. He in one of the campaigns, and then he over here building our props. So, it's like it all ties together. So
you could tell, you could feel it. It feels warm. It feels like the story you're telling. So it comes through. As you're marketing and rolling out, what is your thought process with balancing like storytelling content pieces versus like more content that's like pushing what you have to offer to like convert versus like storytelling?
For sure, and I thought about this. I guess the way I like to create kind of like content buckets. Yeah, just content styles and like these different buckets.
Yeah.
And it started out like with just a few, and we definitely have built it out now to have like 9 buckets of like content styles that we pretty much consistently have as elements. So as I said, I lead with the story. So first bucket is definitely like the campaign videos, like for pretty much every launch, whether big or small, I always try to have some type of like campaign video that's like a little longer. It's not just a still imagery. It's like something to just kind of get the excitement going and like kind of sum up this whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
So we start with those. Those are more for the story, the brand, the emotion. And we'll always post that first. You'll get glimpses of the product, but you don't know exactly what it is. You're just catching your eye, like, oh, what was that shirt? Or like, what is, but we're not explicitly telling you this is what's dropping, right? So those I always start with one because they take the most time and energy to like bring to life. And so we want that to like, while everyone's eyes are still fresh and their excitement's still fresh, we want that to get the light, to shine the light on it that it deserves. Like first thing you see, get you excited, get all the love, get all the, some people, the comments fizzle off as you like post more and more, but that first video always is like hits. So that's our first bucket. I mean, I could tell you about this. I'll tell you, using the last campaign we did, the Summer 25 Flow campaign, we added a bucket of these kind of postcard videos for this one. So it was like campaign video, then postcards. So we did these still shots, just capturing life moments.
Yeah.
Feels similar to like some of the street photography stuff that's always inspired me, or just like those little moments of life. And like we captured just still frames of our models, still video frames of our models, just like having fun, enjoying life out in Montauk with each other.
Yeah.
So that was the second bucket. And that was a part of the creative brief as well, like these different buckets.
Yeah.
Then we had our lookbook. So we did a lookbook out in Montauk, out in the location where the whole shoot was held in the cliffs, figured out, framed up a backdrop. We looked all across the cliffs and found this the perfect kind of pocket for the models to stand in and like get to frame it up. So the lookbook element was like same backdrop, same camera position, but just swipe through different looks. And then we did editorials, so still out on location. Fourth bucket was our editorial shot on film. Kind of differentiated the look a little bit. Feels a little more raw, a little more cozy versus the lookbook, which is a little cleaner. On digital. And that's just like lifestyle shots, more candid or like some pose, but just like different locations. So a lot of that, honestly, like when we're out on location, a lot of that is more of like the storytelling and world building. Then the other side of our content buckets is more like studio. And that's where a lot of the product storytelling comes to life, with fabric, with construction, with just closer up detail shots. So in the studio, our buckets are, we'll have kind of like a lookbook, but studio lookbook. So we have like our editorial lookbook and then studio lookbook. In studio, just e-com style. For the website, for like a more practical look at how things fit on our models and such. Then we'll have our lay flats, our studio lay flats. We work with a studio out in LA, top tier. That was like one of those things when I finally could pass off shooting the flats myself. I'm like, as much as I love a perfectly clean flat and like that look, I don't enjoy doing it myself. Like it's a headache.
I hate doing flats.
It was just like this is important, and I want our site to look clean, but I hate doing this. It would take me hours, and I'll be retouching. So shout out Christine, photo department out in LA. I'll ship her all our samples when they're finalized, and like she'll knock them out. Super efficient, just a whiz on on the computer and the camera. So, but that's definitely a big element. And like depending on the product, sometimes those pics do really, really well because they're just so crispy, so perfect. They really, it just adds to that presentation, that experience of like, this is a world-class brand. This isn't just like somebody that just whatever, like is throwing something up to try and get me to spend my money. It's like, oh, this is a brand, same level as all my other brands that I'm shopping with. That's what we're like. You want to just, at the end of the day, you are competing in a sense. People only have so much money to spend. And so you have to be able to, people need to, especially as you're acquiring new customers that don't just know you. It's like they need to click on your site and trust that this is something I can purchase from and I'm going to actually receive my product. 100%. This is a real company, So flats, and then we have, I always love doing, and these do really well. I love doing like iPhone flats as well. So these, they're just like casual, like just throw the product down, ruffle it up a little bit, show some movement. And it's like a more realistic, I still try to make them look well presented, but like a more realistic view of what that product looks like. Because sometimes the flats you can feel a little disconnected from. For sure. Like you're like, is that really what it looks like? But when I put the iPhone pics, like a medium that everyone uses, everyone takes pics on their phone. And that touch point, I think, also just drives a lot of like trust in like, all right, you can see not only the perfect flat, and that's well presented and professional, but you can also look through and see what this really might look like when you're using your phone to capture it, And then we'll do iPhone videos as well. So you got the professional campaign video, but then some like short form iPhone videos that add to like, again, like that trust of like, all right, through my phone, what does this product actually look like? It's a balance of like never leaning too heavily into one for too long of a period. So like if I post a campaign video, the next thing I might post is some of those iPhone product shots. And I always do like a collab post now with my personal page. It's for a more personal like touch point. I think for a while it was like a completely separate entity from me. And I've been starting to embrace a little more like the founder storytelling and like really letting people into like, my thought process. I always kind of write out a little caption about where I was coming from with this collection, the capsule. And I'll do that as a joint post with the brand. Those have been our best engaging posts. I mean, we're sharing audience from like my audience and the brand's followers, but like I think just generally people like that, like more personal feeling from the actual photo itself being personal to like hearing what I have to say about it. So that might come after the campaign video to like get a little more product centric. And then boom, campaign photos now though. Like, you know, then you kind of toggle back and forth between like something that feels a little more commercial and something that's a little more just of like that world building and storytelling.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's kind of how I approach it, like these different buckets.
Crazy.
And I think when you do it that way, it never feels too stale because every bucket serves its own purpose. Or like even though you're promoting the same collection, every piece of content feels fresh or like, oh, that's different. Oh, that's cool. You know, it's never like, oh, here they go posting the same photo again. You know.
Yeah. I love that. I think the iPhone is such an unlock because that relatability, like everyone's taking photos. You know what an iPhone photo looks like. It's like so relatable. So you're tying that relatability back to your brand and creating like a sense of trust. I think that's a crazy unlock.
Important. Yeah. If anyone that's not using that element of it, like definitely get that in your content strategy. If you're only like professional digital shots, it's like it just can be a little bit
too polished.
Yeah, just polished. You just don't feel as connected to like what's going on.
Yeah. How are you trying to embrace this community approach as you continue to scale to like other locations? Like, are you thinking about like events in places outside of the East Coast, like LA potentially, or like, how are you thinking of approaching scaling?
Again, I think it's just like a level of like just letting things flow a little bit, like dipping our toes in, not just jumping all in on anything. So like Brooklyn pop-up that we just did, that was our first experience in New York. I mean, Philly pop-up, very organic. You know, the guys at P's and Q's, Key and Rick, just like the homies, like great dudes, saw what I was doing and loved it and were willing to put us on. So it was like a very natural like progression of like, y'all, let's do an event. Cool, I appreciate you guys. And then it's like, New York, you know, my homie Mustafa up there, who's a vinyl DJ I mentioned earlier. He's been doing his thing with Q the Record, like this vinyl collective he has. They do like listening sessions and stuff. I was like, yo, you ever think about, you know, I always go to, he has some of the best sets, Record Room up in Long Island City, like just amazing. I always a vibe when I'm at one of his events. And so, like, yo, you ever think of like doing a kind of collab, pop-up situation, like clothing, kind of expanding like the elements of their collective, and he was like, let's run it. And so, you know, we could have just been like, yeah, let's go rent out a storefront in Lower East Side and just put our logo and just do this full-blown pop-up. But I'm like, just one step at a time, naturally engaging the people that we're actually connected to. And then it's like, collab event there, boom. We're about to do our first showroom, actually, for New York Fashion Week. That's coming up in like 2 weeks. But again, that was natural. It was like family friend, you know, she works for like a PR agency. We met, grabbed drinks, you know, it was like our first time connecting. We're like it's like through my parents' family friend. And like their daughter or like son's girlfriend, you know, she up in New York doing her thing. We connected, we hit it off. And it was natural. It was like, oh, like my agency would love to have you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? Why not? Like, you know, they're willing to like work with us. They know it's our first time. It wasn't us just like, oh, let's go do this showroom because we got to do this. It's like, so I definitely approach things naturally. I think I can feel when the time is right versus when I'm like forcing something. And so we'll see. Like, we'll see what opportunities arise. And I'll go after opportunities too when it's something I really feel convicted about. But I'm never just like forcing something for the optics or just to like say we did it. You know, it's like it has to feel like it's something that's worthwhile and like feels natural for a natural progression, you know. So.
For sure. In the way you make products, how do you approach like the limited quantities versus like maybe having things more open-ended?
My mindset has changed on this a lot because
it's a tough one.
When I started the brand, you know, and you see all the hype brands, you see the Supremes, you see the Palaces, you see even some of the smaller ones. It's like sold out in 5 seconds, and like that's your dream. And especially starting out, you're like, oh, that's where I'm trying. Like I want my stuff to be limited. I want it to just
Yeah.
buzz. But I think I've definitely adopted much more of like a. I want anybody who wants our stuff to be able to access it, have it. I want you to just love the product and be
Yeah.
able to purchase it if you love it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about hype or any of these added fake, not fake, but like the value is truly in the product and then also just being a part of this community
Yeah.
versus like, I don't know, I never wanted
The
to,
scarcity.
I never want you to feel like, I want you to feel like you got more than what you paid for in a sense
For
with
sure.
the product. I don't want you to be like, oh, I spent $600 resale on this thing because it's limited. So,
Yeah.
that being said, yeah, just like I try to just support the demand, honestly. So like selling now is cool and all at first, then you realize you could have sold way more and just brought in the audience and brought more people in
Yeah.
by just like really emphasizing how great that product is and selling it to them and having the stock. Like during when we launched the sweaters, we did like a decent. I definitely placed some bets on them with like the inventory buy, but we sold out in like less than a week in all core sizes. That was end of November. And all of December, I was getting blown up with like, oh, this is on my son's Christmas list. When are you restocking? Oh, my boyfriend wanted this.
Damn.
Please restock ASAP. And I'm like, dang, like, we couldn't restock till like basically end of January. And I'm like,
Yeah.
December through, like, regardless of hype and all, December through January, some of the coldest months, and we're out of stock in our core sweater that everyone's loving. So it's like, nah, I want to just be in stock and selling and continue to fuel the growth because it's like,
Yeah.
so this year we just, man, couple days ago, just placed our biggest order
Wow.
of sweaters.
Let's go.
Our biggest order like ever for the brand. We did like 750 units
Wow.
of our shaker sweaters, and then we're gonna layer on like wool sweaters and
Wow.
start building out the complex more. But yeah, just want everybody who wants a piece to be able to get it.
Yeah.
And I think in the day that we're in too, that's what people are kind of expecting, especially like with Amazon, some of these logistics that are getting crazy fast, and
Yeah.
people just what they want, they go purchase it, and then it's there.
Yeah.
I try to we're just trying to make sure we're competing at that level as well.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I think that was an issue we were bumping our heads against towards the end of all caps because we were using the pre-sale model and it worked early, like 2020, but eventually people have this, you just have to go with the way that people are consuming, and people are consuming and getting things pretty quickly. So like when they buy it, they expect it within that week almost. And we were like, it was like a 30-day turnaround, almost like 2 to 3 weeks. So like people got like, it was like harder to keep people excited and like hyped on things when they had to wait so long. So I think that's such a smart tactic is to have products so you can like as soon as someone buys it, boom,
Yeah.
label it, ship it, and they get it in like 2-3 days.
I agree, and I think when you have all the hype, when you have a lot of hype, you can do the pre-order. Like, it has to be such a product that people are really coveting for them to be willing to put their money up like that. It's like, I think, just from our experience, we see a night and day difference between pre-orders demand and when we had the stock in hand ready to ship. Like, I'm talking like quadruple the demand of like willingness to actually hit that purchase.
Yeah.
Cause it's like, when we sold out in November of the sweaters, we ran a pre-order in December just to try to capture some of the people that like wanted it right now while it still had the buzz.
Yeah.
But like, we probably only sold like 20, 25 sweaters on the pre-order, which like, I mean, to some that might be a lot, but like, for that time, I was like, we just had sold out at 250.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, oh, there's hella people that want these. Let's get the pre-order out.
Yeah.
And then we only sold like 20-something on the pre-order. We restocked like another 200 units. And those sell out in a week once they're actually like in stock. So it's like, oh, like people are just, they don't want their money tied up. It's like, I'd rather just put my money somewhere where I can have it right now. That's like just where I think society has definitely gone. I think there's definitely a lot more like I mean, back in the day, yeah, everything was made to order. You know, your
100%.
garments were made for you and such. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely. I like to be able to just serve them like now and like
Yeah.
get their product to them as soon as possible. So.
Yeah, I think it's good for like just establishing trust early too with your customer. To like
Hmm.
they can see the orders being shipped. And like it's almost yeah, having doing the pre-sale models as an early new brand, like it creates like this like cognitive dissonance for people who are buying. Like they buy and they're like, where did I like and like a week later they're like, did I just buy something? Like where is it?
Right.
Right? Like
Yeah.
they start questioning and like you start losing the trust a little bit, and then like you gotta like yeah, it's hard. It's just harder to do, and like keeping the customer interested, and like that could be a customer that might buy something for the next drop, but if this experience doesn't go well, like they probably won't buy this next
Right.
drop.
Right.
So it's good to like keep that stock in hand, make sure you're like
Big time.
yeah, building
Big
that trust. I
time.
think that's key. Do you have do you know when to put like a focus on like a specific product, or do you like how do you know when to like hero a product versus like not to hero a product?
It's definitely strategic. Like I think definitely one from working like at a
And,
company like Gap. Like
yeah,
I've learned a lot about like at the end of the day, no matter what product we launch, our black art logo hoodies are always gonna be like the number one seller in the whole company. You know,
damn, yeah,
because it's just like there's certain items that just have way more potential for like
yeah,
demand or scale.
yeah,
You know, so it's like yeah, I used to like not really think about that. I'll be like, oh, this sweater vest with stripes and stuff, like sky's the limit. I can sell 1 million of these. But the
yeah,
reality is there's only so many people that are willing to wear that and buy that
yeah,
versus like, yeah, if you drop a basic hoodie, your market is a lot wider. The willingness for someone to buy that. So I kind of think about that. Like I be real with myself now. Of like, all right, what is this product, and what's like based on the size of our audience, and then the potential, like how big, how much potential really is there behind something like this versus like a T-shirt or a basic sweater. You know, whether that or like a crazy crochet
yeah,
Johnny Polo. It's like, all right, this is cool, and we're gonna get the idea out, but it might not be like a hero item, you know. So I think I started, and it's funny because when I started, we were actually gonna be more of a basics brand when I started. Like most of the stuff I developed in that year of like research and learning about making clothes, like I was up in the garment district in New York making everything with small factories there. And like most of that I didn't even put out. I was doing like full basic sweatsuits, sweatpants, you know, just
yeah,
sourcing the fabric and the fit and everything. And then we started with the beanies, and that was supposed to kind of be like, yeah, like really just high quality basics was the idea at first. And
yeah,
then I think I realized it can be really, in this day and age, without like capital or like already having a platform, it can be really hard to like convince somebody, even if you truly believe I have the best, highest quality basic beanie,
yeah,
like with no platform or no track record, like it's hard to make people actually believe that. You know, it's like
yeah,
I'm gonna just go to Drake's and buy this Lambsville beanie. You know,
yeah,
I don't know who this is. So
yeah,
I think from there I was like, all right, we do need some of those kind of more out there products that, like me personally, my style is pretty simple. Like I don't really wear a lot of like we were talking about uniform earlier. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
I like to keep it chill, cozy. I don't like to be like the loudest in the room where everyone's like,
right,
look
yeah,
at that guy. But I realized like we do have to make some of those products
right,
to get us going a little bit, or some things that just catch your eye a little more. That
yeah,
like if you're scrolling on the explore page, you might, oh, what's that? You know, you might just scroll by a basic beanie that because you've seen that 1 million times. It
yeah,
might be a great beanie still, but like getting going, we did need some of those louder pieces. We did like the mohair sweaters
yeah,
with like the crazy jacquard, you know,
yeah,
knit pattern and like the vest. And a lot of that I don't really wear, but I love our basic sweaters now, and I love that became the platform for us to then reintroduce more basic items,
yeah,
more of those wearable things that I really enjoy wearing. And yeah, I just got the eyes as we talked about earlier, and then
yeah,
now those basics are driving more volume than some of the louder pieces. It kind of like we had to flip that. We had to go there to then come back to what we really wanted to do, like product wise, a little bit, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
now it's a nice balance, which is it's fun. So
Yeah, that's so important. I think to have like yeah, those star item or like the items that can catch people's eyes to inform
Right.
the drivers, like the converters. Yeah, those that's such a
And
good
build, yeah,
element.
you build that trust too. Like someone who might have bought that mohair sweater. Now when we drop a basic sweater, they know we make a great quality sweater already, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like I trust that the basic sweater will be
Yeah,
great, and I could probably wear it more than this
yeah,
loud one I already bought." You know, so
yeah.
it does a lot to have those
100%.
pieces. So
One of the biggest struggles that I faced when I was running the brand was the like post launch. How are you thinking about like once you launch this drop, how do you continue the lifespan or like yeah, how what is your thought process and strategy around like the like once the thing is launched, like is it done or like are you still trying to so you keep inventory so like you're trying to push like more sales to it and like how do you make sure like you're getting traction on those?
that's something I've definitely had to like rethink a lot lately, and we're like figuring out strategically where we want to go with that. Cause yeah, I definitely want to start building it out to be more like of a steady flow versus like we drop, we have the buzz, we make some
Yeah.
sales, and then there's like these quiet periods because you
Yeah.
know you do need like that consistent revenue and cash flow to like keep the business going.
Yeah.
So I'd say a couple things. It's like one, working with more just creators, influencers that I respect and think that align with kind of like our ethos as a brand.
Yeah.
So it might be I might drop something and maybe in that time period, yeah, I'll just see how well this stuff does. Especially if it's gonna sell out, I'd rather like the people that really want it to get
Yeah.
it first.
Yeah.
But then we still have a bunch of inventory. It's been a couple of weeks. Things are dying down. You know, I hit up some people that I'm like, yo, I would love to send you some of this product. Like, I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah.
Has to feel natural. Like, it's never like, I'm going to pay you to do this and for this post and content. It's like,
Yeah.
yo, you want some pieces? You like the stuff? Let me know which ones you're feeling or not. And then from there, that'll generate a little more buzz. Like honestly, that can be like just word of mouth and like that buzz can be game changer for just like the
100%.
energy around.
Yeah.
You know, you can post as much as you want, but if no one's talking about it, like it's kind of like that's a big element of like actually converting or getting people to
Yeah.
trust and convert. You
Yeah,
know,
you can see a lot of big like the UGC market is crazy. Like getting brands are sending people so much stuff, and I feel like
tons.
if yeah, there's a proven strategy in that. Like it's people, if you see like someone that you trust and like content that you like, and you see them talking about this brand, you're going to
Right.
there's a higher chance that you're interested in like checking that brand out. So I think that's such a smart tool.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. So that's definitely a part, but like specifically, and like sometimes I'll do it. Like if there's someone I'm like, I really want to see the product on, or like I'm like, yo,
yeah,
I know he would kill this product.
yeah,
Then yeah, before we even launch, like as soon as our inventory touches down, I might send it out.
yeah,
But after when things die down, that definitely helps like reinvigorize things. Um, we started messing around with paid ads as well. That one can be like I've started doing my research and it's like you really want to use those to amplify what's already working organically. So you
yeah,
don't want to just like put all every single piece of content out. Like you want to test content organically, and if you see something does really well organically in terms of engagement,
yeah,
it'll probably do well amplified as a paid ad. And so we'll still test content, but we generally start with all right, which posts of ours, and you also think of it like from a like sometimes the storytelling stuff does engage really well, but what we found that doesn't necessarily convert as well in terms of just like a paid ad versus yeah, it converts in like our brand building and community building.
yeah,
So it definitely drives brand value there,
yeah,
but it doesn't necessarily convert as like a paid ad. So we definitely our ads are more product centric on the paid side,
yeah,
but we look within like all of our those product buckets, you know, our content pillars. All right, out of these, the flats, the studio shots, on figure, the iPhone pics, which are the best performing?
yeah.
We'll push those as paid, and that's been like killer. We just started running some more. I'm only running 2 ads right now, just on our charcoal sweaters, but you'll see the halo effect of like that catches someone's eye, and then they come to the site and then they scrolling through. You know, I
Yeah.
always link it to like our all page, or maybe it might be like our knitwear page.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they scrolling through, and like somebody ordered like we had like a $700 order yesterday. He ordered like
Damn.
6 items, and it's like
Yeah.
link back, like we have our Facebook pixel, so you'll see like he came from the ad,
Yeah.
hit the site. It might he only saw that one product on the ad, but you know the ads kind of had this halo of just bringing more traffic to your site and introducing people that might have never even knew you existed,
100%.
and that keeps energy going after drop. Um, and then other than that, just like content, like I'm still sitting on a lot, honestly, like a lot of content. I was posting some TikToks earlier this week of stuff I just never really got around to editing or putting out.
Yeah.
Pop-up recaps, little behind the scenes from the shoots.
Yeah.
So it's like just as you can, just getting that stuff out. I think as long as it's new, like I try not to like just repost the same content because I think that's where you get into like a
Yeah.
burnout where people just stop engaging because they're like, oh, he's just posting the same thing.
Yeah.
But like if I still have more content that hasn't been seen, I'm gonna still put it out because you know you just never know. So
Yeah, 100%. Are you using any metrics outside of like social analytics to track anything? Like, are you using like conversations on the street, interactions with people at events, DM conversation? Like, are you using any other metrics to know something is working rather than like, oh, we got a lot of likes and comments on this?
I'm definitely very intuitive and just like trust my intuition on things a lot of times, and it's often it is like I just had a feeling like I believed in these teas so much. I had a feeling they were gonna do well.
Yeah.
They did great, and then like the buzz around them. You know, it's kind of like a balance of like just taking in all those sensory things, whether it was a small convo, a DM, an email. Like you
Yeah.
just pick up on patterns. If there's ways to quantify 'em, that's what my guy Jeremy, who's been helping the brand with some like brand strategy stuff. You know, he's digging into all the weeds and the performance metrics and things, you know, around that. But for me, I think it's definitely one, like the campaigns, definitely for like the more cultural side. You can feel when you have a more cultural impact there.
Yeah.
And some of those vanity metrics, like likes and stuff, like honestly, that is a good solid indicator. But then also just like
Yeah.
you can feel when people were really enjoying what you're doing versus like, oh, that was pretty cool, you know.
Yeah.
But
What is your strategy for pricing? Are you like using cost to wholesale to retail strategy, or are you like doing like a value based, like you know your worth, and you know like where you want to take the brand, and are you pricing versus that, or like you're doing like the classic like double the cost, double wholesale kind of vibe?
dude, so at the Gap, like I price our products at the Gap, like for denim pants and shorts.
Yeah.
You know, I have to price that stuff, and we have very strict margins we have to hit.
Yeah.
And so I've definitely adopted a lot of that mentality into like understanding that for this business to run, we do need healthy margins.
Yeah.
You know, like I think when you first get going or customer facing, if they were to see those margins, they could think you're being greedy or like, oh, why?
Yeah.
But it's like there's so many overhead costs that go into running a business that like you need that margin or else it's not going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
You know, so I definitely first I start with positioning. Like I have a general understanding of like the competitive landscape, the market, what other brands I see ourselves kind of sitting with, brands I respect, and like say, all right, we're doing our own thing, but like I could see our customer like shopping these brands. This is kind of their price point.
Yeah.
Then I look at their items, and everything's tiers. Like I try to think of things in this like good, better, best framework. If you ever heard of it, look up the good, better, best framework. Any brand, any product, like that's a great framework to use. It's just bucketing your items by price. So like we might have a cotton sweater, like within sweater category, you might have a cotton sweater in your good bucket. And then you set a tier of like price points that can fall within based on your competitors and like where you see your brand sitting. Then you might have a merino wool sweater, and and that could be in your better bucket, and then your better bucket has a range, you know, of like price points. Then you might have a cashmere sweater. It might all be the same sweater, but just like breaking it up by price for different levels of tiers and elevation.
Yeah.
All still great quality items, you know, if that's your brand's positioning, but like, you know, offering tiers to the customer to be able to purchase in wherever they're at and meet them where they're at. So I built that framework out for sure. Like, like the wool sweaters we're launching will be in our good bucket, right? But it is like competitive facing. this is where I want to be priced, and working backwards. So with the manufacturing, like having kind of clear cost targets of like, if this is the price we want to charge, this is what we can afford. We have started bringing on, we started working with a few boutiques, slowly getting to the wholesale side. So
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
have one in New York that just picked us up, free agency. And so it's like, they
Fire.
got to make their money too,
Yeah.
when they buy the product from you.
Yeah.
So you have to leave that room for like you to make your margin and then them to make their margin as well on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's like a mix of both to answer your question. It's like understanding where you want to be priced and what you can realistically afford cost wise, and
Yeah.
like the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
It can never really be just how much it costs me to make, so I'm gonna charge up this much.
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
the product's not actually worth that much, or you're not positioned that way in your marketing and everything you're doing,
Right.
has to make sense too to the customer. So
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Like, look at the brands that you want to be associated with. Like, if you're thinking of a store, like, what are the brands that sit next to your brand?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like where in the market are you Louis Vuitton? Are you positioned there? Are you
Yeah.
whatever, Chez, Rien? So
Yeah. As you're thinking of a rollout, what things have you like since the beginning? Have you kept integral to the brand and storytelling? Is it like the short form videos, locations and point of views? Like, what is a non-negotiable that you use?
like campaign videos for sure, like always our starting point.
Yeah.
It's like we gotta have a concept, we gotta have some form of grounding campaign video. So the video is definitely integral, and then everything else kind of follows and ties in. And I think it's just grown from there. Like it used to be very simple. Again, like introducing the iPhone stuff like that. We weren't really doing at first. It was all like just digitals shot on like like a professional camera, and like wanted it to be very polished. But now I've started like thinking about the brand voice more and like building it out.
Yeah.
I think the video elements, and then just overall, again, like that grounding feeling of home. Like, does this feel like home? Whether it's now, like the beginning when we had no audience to like now, it's like home has always tied into everything we've done. So as we roll out, I just gotta like, that's always gonna be an important element to like keep in the mix. So
Has there been any challenges that you faced during a campaign rollout, and how did you either fix or deal with it?
I think a lot of our challenges lately, again, have come back to time management and like that just scheduling, calendar. It's like,
Yeah.
and I had a big sit down moment, epiphany of like, yo, like this is the source of all my problems, just being behind. Like, if we were like way more ahead, none of this would have happened. Like, everything would have been cool, So, like, I'll give an example. And like, as you grow, there's just more people at stake that like you're now disrespecting other people's time. You don't have your stuff together,
Yeah.
So for example, the last campaign, the Flow campaign, like we had the date set, everybody was on board, everybody's good to go, like the shoot's coming up. And I was so in the weeds on the logistics of the shoot that I kind of brushed to the side the fact that our final samples were stuck in customs. So while that should have been my number one, because you can't, without the samples, there's no shoot. Without the product, there's no shoot. So I was like, I'm trying to like make sure the models, the contracts, all the shoot logistics, location, van is booked, everything. But the whole time the samples is stuck, and I was just kind of like sending DHL the info they needed.
Yeah.
And then the next day they would come back, oh, we need more info. And I was just kind of like sending them the info, like, oh, they'll get here.
Yeah.
But the whole time, like, I should have been like, wait, our samples are stuck. This is not, so it's like just thinking, prioritizing like what needs to happen in order of importance and like by time.
Yeah.
That has caused like, I think for me, that was like a big situation because basically we had to postpone the shoot a week, which things get postponed, but like had I been more on it, we would have been good. I would have got it released. Like Nebrea ended up intervening. She locked in with the DHL agents, got it released, like did her thing. But like, I was like, it was like the day before the shoot and I get that notification that they still stuck. I'm like, what? Like I thought I gave them everything I needed,
Yeah.
And so Um, no, I think that was definitely like I was like, dang, that pushes stuff back, pushes the whole drop back, pushes everything. And so, yeah, the timelines have been roadblocks, but right now, again, I'm just trying to get like significantly more ahead of things
Yeah.
so that we have that wiggle room. Like, if something like that happens, like, oh, it's okay, we can afford an extra week, because we built in room for error.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. Built
like,
in is, I think that's key. I think that's key because yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. Yeah,
yeah,
if someone gets sick, if yeah, like
right,
like shipping delays or like yeah, you literally never know what might happen. Like yeah,
never.
you might get injured. Like literally so many different things. So yeah, I think
Right.
that's key.
Yeah, those time. I think in terms of actual rollout, though, most of the time it's pretty smooth. Check your content in advance, get you a burner account,
Yeah,
and like post it. See how it's actually gonna show up on socials, because there's definitely been some like headaches of like just like little things with the file sizes, resolution, or just like
yeah,
you might have done a graphic and not realize like the tag button is gonna cover up some of the
yeah,
information. Just those small things. So like testing content as well. I always I just have my private account that I'll post everything in advance.
yeah.
Make sure the audio is good.
That's
Boom
actually really
boom.
smart. Yeah,
Yeah, it's great. It's like then you like know for sure. All right, I'm gonna post this. It's gonna be smooth. Like just seeing how
yeah.
it shows up on those platforms. So.
Yeah, that's the one. Like, I never considered the like and like comment buttons on the side, and sometimes the text just like gets underneath that, and it's
Oh,
like,
especially on TikTok. Yeah.
yeah.
hmm
So that's actually a good unlock for me. I need to get a
For
burner to
sure.
post on just to make sure it's gonna work.
Yeah, it's definitely key.
Do you have any advice for other brands who are trying to create like more community and that create that feeling around their brand? Like, is there anything you would advise or suggest they do?
Again, start from within. Keep it real, like with the people you love, your actual community.
Yeah,
Like just build it one step at a time with those people that's closest to you, or like the people you love, and then that love will expand out, and more people will want to be a part of that. So I think I definitely earlier on like I've always felt a little bit like I never fit in anywhere completely, or like was never fully accepted. And so it's like
yeah,
sometimes you gotta just build your own a little bit, and like
yeah,
other people will start wanting to be a part of that too, naturally. So
yeah, 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 yeah.
instead of trying to like latch on to someone else's community in a sense, like it's okay to just make your own with the people even if
Yeah.
it's only two of you to start out, like you and that person, you love each other, and y'all that'll expand out. So
Yeah, 100%,
yeah,
100%. Yeah, so key. So key to be who you are, like really, like just be true to you, and like just like yeah, it's something about being in your true form. Like you will attract other people who are like that, and like that's how you begin to build like your real community. And then who knows, one of those people is like also a creative, and maybe they can help you out, and you guys start working together. I think
right,
that's yeah,
big
working
time,
within for sure is a key,
big
massive.
time. Like it just never felt real to me to just like do the cold outreach, just
Yeah,
like, hey, I'm building this thing, boom, boom, boom. Sometimes
yeah,
like you need a little, like that's how I met Nebrea. I just loved her work and I hit her up. But again, it just has to be like real. Like
yeah.
it can't just be like,
Like you genuinely liked her work, so you're like
right,
you feel like called to do it. Yeah, it
right,
wasn't like a shot of like in the dark. Like
right,
we were,
just like,
yeah,
oh, just straight business. It's like
yeah,
you never gonna build a community in that sense.
yeah.
You got to really care about those people. So.
What's one element of the rollout that you think other brands get wrong? Have you ever thought about that? Are you comparing or like seeing other brands like and be like, okay, like we do this better for sure.
Yeah, the timing of the rollout to when things are available, and I think we were doing it wrong at first. There's no right or wrong, but I do think there's a way to do it that's more effective because, I don't think you should tease too much before the product is actually available for sale. Like, because people are just gonna,
Yeah,
people like things that are new or feel new and exciting,
yeah,
but if they've seen it for 2 weeks, by the time it actually drops, they might be like, I might buy something else, you
yeah,
know? And so it's like, as much as, I still want to sustain the sales over a long period of time, and like the initial drop isn't the only thing that matters.
yeah,
I do think there's something good about like hit on with what's going on and then drop this Friday or whatever. We used to do like 2-week rollouts, and I just saw the buzz fizzle off by the
Yeah.
time it was actually drop day.
Yeah.
Versus like now we'll start posting like that Monday or Tuesday and drop on a Friday and like hit them with a bunch of content. It feels like an event. It feels exciting all week.
Yeah.
New different forms. It's like boom, 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 and then the drop happens and the buzz is still there. You
Yeah.
know. So I think the timing, that's something we learned from experience. But I think other brands that's like maybe starting out, just like you'll probably be so excited to feel like your product's finally ready. The content might be already edited. And you might be like, oh. But if you're not ready to actually drop, don't feel. I got so much stuff I'll be sitting on like, dang, this is gonna be fire when I finally show people. But like, just wait. You know, I think, and it's a balance. Like some stuff you could take people along on the journey, which some I'm gonna start messing with more.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of like those big special moments, like sometimes it's nice to like save that and like let that just hit them with it at once, and you know they'll be like, yo, they won't know what hit them. You know, they like, y'all was cooking. I thought you was just over here chilling in Brooklyn. This what you was
Whole time.
But no, it's different approaches. But I think that actual rollout, like.
Yeah.
Keep it tight and hit them with it hard.
like-
I think that's something I took from Fred too. Like I would always see,
Yeah.
he would do like 3 posts and then be his drops hitting and like the buzz is
Yeah.
there. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I am kind of like, it's too long, too drawn out. You're losing
Yeah.
people's attention. So
Yeah, and it's like if you're trying to fill up content too, it's just like a lot to consume. And it's like people are gonna forget the tease, and like you're just gonna lose
So
a lot of
much.
people. The funnel just like gets leaky, like you're just losing people in that timeline. So I think that's the smart. Like keep it
Yeah.
concise, do it in a week,
right.
and just knock it out. Make sure you got bangers, and like,
Right.
just really.
And then you could keep posting. That's the thing. Like, if you look at our feed right now, like, yeah, we only had like 5 posts. We had 5 posts before the drop, but then since then we've had like probably 9 more or something of like just little elements or behind the scenes. But like before the actual product's available, don't drag it out too much. You're promoting something that's not available for sale. You're
Yeah.
just like losing people.